What's going on, guys? Welcome back to probably what will end up being the shortest race weekend recap on this channel. I apologize that it took this long to get this one out, but life absolutely took me away from my computer and my setup, and I've been unable to really do and absorb Japan until literally today. So I ended up watching the race, recap basically as much as I could in my head, but we're still going to breeze through this really quickly, and we'll get out of here because China is literally this week, and we're not going to spend any more time on Japan than we have to, but I want to have this up on the channel just so we have every single weekend on this year. So we're going to talk very, very quickly about our quick hits. Weekend winner loser is going to go by in a flash. We'll wrap things up by talking about our current standings in our predictions challenge, and then we'll get prepared for China because the predictions video for that is going up in just a couple of days. But let's jump into it and start things off with our quick hits. Another weekend of Red Bull dominance. I don't think anyone is too surprised by that. Another 1-2 for Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, those positions respectively. Max obviously bouncing back from his DNF in Australia by just absolutely leading from start to finish here in Japan. Moving on, I don't think we need to spend any more time on that than that. If you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. Williams absolutely having a disaster class and wishing they were doing almost anything else than running an F1 team right now. Alex Albon crashing out in the first lap. I think they made it to corner 2 or 3, depending on how you count turn 1, before he ended up crashing out. Logan obviously crashing in practice, as well as running deep in the race when he actually had a very good race for once, and ended up running wide coming out of Degner 2, and yeah, ended up in the gravel and finished last on track there. So we'll go over that a little bit more here in a bit. So if you know, you know. Moving on, we have Yuki Tsunoda getting points in his home race, I believe, for the first time. What a dominant weekend from Yuki. Daniel obviously involved in the incident with Alex Albon in lap 1. And what does Yuki do? He absolutely responds in a savage way by scoring points once again for RB. Definitely good weekend for Yuki. And then finally talking about a bit about the race overall. This one actually what ended up being very good. We had a lot of differing strategies. We had a lot of different strategy calls. Some people stretching a 1-stop a la Charles Leclerc. Some people inevitably doing, another 2-stop after the red flag, like pretty much everybody else. And really were kind of looking at it going, for the first time, I think this year of, okay, who stopped? Who's going to stop again? Are they actually going to stop? If they don't stop, where do we think they'll end up? If they do stop, will they have enough time to fight back through the field? And so we saw a lot of differing strategies, and I think that actually made up for probably what ultimately ended up being sort of a pretty okay race in terms of on-track action. But the differing strategies and strategy calls absolutely spiced this one up, and I enjoyed every second of it. I definitely wouldn't mind another weekend soon like that, where it really comes down to a lot of strategy talk, more than just the procession 1-stop that we get all so often nowadays. But this was actually a very good race. Really enjoyed it. Japan and Sazuka always seem to deliver on one front or another. I know there was a threat of rain over the weekend. Thankfully, it didn't end up taking part in the race itself. So we got a nice dry race. And it was a banger in my opinion. Moving very quickly along to our weekend winner and losers. We've already mentioned both of them. For my weekend winner, I'm obviously going with Yuki Tsunoda. He's been absolutely massive to start the 2024 season, culminating in points at his home race. And I think it is definitely about time he gets the flowers he deserves. He's been putting in absolutely wonderful results and going into your home race and absolutely delivering a single point, albeit an absolutely wonderful job. Fantastic job, Yuki. You're my weekend winner in this one. Moving right along to my weekend loser, I think it has to be Williams. I don't know if any team has had as much of a disastrous start in terms of that particular part. We could talk a lot about Kick Sauber and their pit stop issues, but I think Williams is definitely on the back foot to start the year, and I think it's going to affect them basically the rest of the 2024 season. The amount of money that they're going to have to invest in rebuilding these cars is going to catch up to them as the season goes on. We've had multiple race weekends already where cars have had major damage applied to them, and even one chassis in a race where literally they only had one car take place. So I don't know what to say, Williams. I'd say get your stuff together, but I'm sure you already know that. I don't know. I don't know how anyone else but them could be feeling as down as they probably are right now heading into China. Moving right along very quickly to our predictions results. A very mixed bag weekend for me in terms of predictions. My biggest positive surprise was a nil. I actually managed to nab 2 out of 3 in both my qualifying top 3 and race podium. And I was oh so close on my one crazy prediction. I called my shot for Haas points, and we were so close with a P11 finish. But that said, I'll absolutely take a P11 finish. Absolute banger of a weekend for Haas. I'm loving where we're at right now. Let's keep it up. Come on, we're feeling good. Let's ride that momentum, and let's make it happen. Yeah. Looking at the current score standings after Japan, I currently am in second place with 15.5 points. Currently sitting in last is British with 13, and Sentinel takes a commanding lead after a dominant weekend where he actually ended up getting 7.5 points this weekend. Running away with it as of now at 18.5 points. Might have to start getting a little more boring when it comes to my predictions to try and catch up, but he absolutely cooked this weekend, and hopefully he'll have a cool down, come back down to earth moment in Japan. But I said Japan, in China. And speaking of China, we go racing in China this week. When this is posted, it will be race week once again. So that'll be from April 5th to 7th. Last year, this race was obviously canceled. And so the only real question we have is who will we see on the podium this weekend in China? I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's going to be my first time watching China as a spectator. F1 hasn't been there in, I believe, 5 years. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the track is definitely going to suit, obviously, the cars that have dominant straight line speed, which is giving me hope. My boys, come on, let's make it happen. But I'm really looking forward to it. But what do you think is going to happen next weekend? Let me know down in the comment section below. And what would you rate the Japanese Grand Prix out of 10? But that was a very, very quick Japanese Grand Prix recap. Very simple, straightforward, but it's here for your faces. If you enjoyed it and you made it this far, I appreciate you. Subscribe below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.